Guys, what the fuck is this card? Erin Blanchfield versus Macy Barber? Are you fucking serious? Does the UFC really think that we're gonna watch a 6 and a 4 go to a 5 round decision at 1 a.m.? Look at this card for a second and then I'll get to my point. Give me 1 sec. Erin Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. 13 and 2 versus 14 and 2. Who gives a fuck? Mateus Gamrot versus Ludovic Klein? Like some mid lightweight fight that again no one really cares about. Like Mateus Gamrot just lost a close decision to Dan Hooker. There's no stakes on this card whatsoever. Dustin Jacoby versus Bruno Lopez, light heavyweight bout. Like okay. Zachary Reese versus Dush. I don't know how you pronounce that fucking name. Dusko Todorovic. Does anyone care about any of the fighters on this fucking card? Seriously? And then you've got these two other cancelled bouts with, again, four fighters that no one gives a shit about. But I wouldn't be surprised if these fighters were like, I'm injured, get me off of the Blanchfield versus Barber card. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Let's face it, right now, the UFC is complete shit. We're stuck with endless Apex snooze fests, cards stacked with nobodies, and a drought of fights that we genuinely care about. Do you feel like Saturday nights lately feel more like background noise than must-see UFC? I do, but I was thinking about this and I'm pretty sure that this slump is actually a really good thing. Why is that, Big Dumb Harry? Well, because it's actually setting us up for the UFC to go absolutely balls to the wall insane once their ESPN deal expires. Here's the reality. The UFC's 5-year, $1.5 billion deal with ESPN is ending in 2025. And right now, the UFC is doing exactly what you'd expect, saving cash and star power by giving us some of the most forgettable cards imaginable. It's not by accident, and it's certainly not because Dana lost his mind, though sometimes we do wonder. They're purposefully tanking the current product to make sure they come out swinging once a new partner signs on. You don't believe me? Let's rewind to January 2019 when the UFC first joined ESPN. They kicked off with an absolute banger. Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw. They stacked those early cards with Francis Ngannou versus Cain Velasquez, Justin Gaethje knocking out Edson Barboza, and pay-per-view events so good that they expanded their ESPN deal immediately. UFC went super hard, ESPN Plus subscriptions soared, and we as fans got spoiled with back-to-back bangers. Seriously, as I was doing the research for this video, I was looking back at all of the cards from the start of 2019, and they're all fucking bangers, man. Check this out. So, this Cejudo versus Dillashaw card was actually meant to be a pay-per-view that they turned into a free fight night for ESPN, right? The next free fight night that they had was Assunção versus Moraes 2 with Aldo Moicano as the co-main event, with Damian Maia, Charles Oliveira, Johnny Walker all on the main card. This is literally better than UFC 315 that we just saw, right? Next, you have the pay-per-view Adesanya versus Silva. So these pay-per-views aren't ESPN yet. And this one would have been a bit of a stinker by today's standards, but that's mostly because of the fact that like a few hours before the fight, Whitaker had to pull out with some weird medical thing. And so they took Israel Adesanya versus Anderson Silva from the co-main event to the main event, right? But even that main co-main duo is fucking awesome for the time. The next free fight night that they have, Ngannou versus Velasquez. Could you imagine a world in 2025 where instead of getting fucking Erin Blanchfield versus Macy Barber, we get Francis Ngannou versus Cain Velasquez? Yeah, like that would never happen right now, right? The next fight night, Blachowicz versus Santos. The next fight night, so the next pay-per-view was John Jones versus Anthony Smith, Tyron Woodley versus Kamaru Usman, and Robbie Lawler versus Ben Askren, all on the poster. Next fight night, Derek Lewis versus Junior Dos Santos. Next fight night, Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal. Then Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Anthony Pettis. Then Edson Barboza versus Justin Gaethje. Then the next pay-per-view is Holloway Poirier 2 and Gastelum versus Adesanya. Adesanya. I said like Adam Sandler versus Adesanya there. That's fucking hilarious. Gastelum versus Adesanya. Then you had the next fight night, Overeem versus Olenek. Next fight night, you have Jacare Souza versus Jack Manson. The next fight night was Ally Quinta versus Cowboy, and this is where I would start to say, okay, this is a bit of fall off, right? But this is May of 2019. That's 4 months of pretty much like every second weekend having a banger fight night or a fucking stacked pay-per-view. When was the last time that you saw that? I understand that UFC 314 was pretty good, where you had like the Volk Lopez and John Silva and Bryce Mitchell and all that, but come on, guys, we have not seen a roster like this in a while, right? Now, history is repeating itself. The UFC is reportedly eyeing $1 billion a year streaming deal. That means Netflix, Amazon, whoever ponies up big cash is going to demand explosive, consistent action to justify that massive spend. This likely means no more cheap Apex cards every weekend, but real, hyped fight nights in awesome global cities that we haven't seen yet instead. Cinematic level production values, I'm thinking Pride or WWE style entrances, fighter backstories, and content that you'd actually want to binge watch, and multiple commentary streams. This way you don't have to mute your TV to escape Rogan justifying cage humping and DC glorifying every amateur wrestler that fails a double leg. This isn't just some wishful thinking either. This is the logical next step. In 2026, we'll likely see more stacked weekly cards, not just pay-per-views, behind-the-scenes documentaries, origin stories, and beefs to build hype, deeper investment into international markets. Like imagine consistent events in Africa, Southeast Asia. This way we create a truly global MMA landscape. The UFC we loved, the UFC that turned casuals into hardcore fans, is on its way back. So yeah, the UFC sucks right now, and I know I'm just big dumb Harry, but I think that this lull is the sign of an even bigger storm coming. Dana and the UFC are trying to land the biggest deal they can, and it feels like this next deal could change everything again. The fights are going to get better. The storytelling will level up. Saturday nights are going to feel like fight nights again. And if this whole ESPN chapter can tell us anything, it's that we're about to get exactly what we've been missing. So for now, enjoy your dopamine detox because 2026 is going to be a lot of flying knees and full mount MMA thumbnails. Oh, and my dark thought of the day? Most people you meet will never truly know you, and most of them wouldn't care even if they did. See ya.